It's time to update the 2026 NFL mock draft as we are in week 10. The quarterback class took a very interesting turn. Let's break down all 32 first-round picks. Using the current draft order here in week 10, the Saints end up with the first overall pick and select Alabama quarterback Ty Simpson in this mock draft. And there's a lot of season left. Things obviously could change, but I don't hesitate at all to put Simpson in that top spot right now, that top quarterback spot, but the top spot in this mock draft. And there's others being considered, right? There's specifically one other guy that we'll talk about that a lot of people want to put in this first overall pick spot. I think the massive difference is upside, NFL upside when it comes to Ty Simpson, a total package guy, a sneaky athlete, can escape pressure, has the arm talent. I see a little, compared to not a full-on comparison, but a past Alabama quarterback, Mac Jones, but with more arm talent and a lot more athleticism. A tough dude, a good leader. You see him leading the rest of the team in the locker room right before the game. Love to see things like that as well. For the Saints, maybe they give Shuck more of a shot. They will this year. Maybe he ends up looking good, and then boom, he's their guy. They don't take a quarterback here at the top of the draft. That's certainly possible. In this projection, I am also predicting, you see down here at the bottom, other notable quarterbacks that could be the first overall pick. I'm predicting that they'll return to school. Dante Moore, he was really hot earlier in the year against weaker competition, still a very good quarterback, and he can make his way back to that spot, but he can return to school, get a lot more experience that I think he needs, and you get paid in school now, and then he could become the first overall pick possibly next year. Lenore Sellers was projected by many to be the first overall pick, and it's been a little underwhelming this year. South Carolina, the staff, the rest of the team hasn't really helped him all that much. Well, I can't blame things on the defense there. I think he can not only return to school, but I could see him transferring somewhere bigger and then making his way maybe back in that conversation next year. And Arch Manning shouldn't really be a surprise, and he's starting to get a lot better right now. Him and Texas starting to play a lot better, but I think he could be a guy that returns and maybe gets in that conversation for the first overall pick next year. So keep all that in mind with this projection. Saints, Ty Simpson as of right now. Second overall, the Tennessee Titans select Ohio State defender Arvell Reese, a linebacker that also can play off the edge. So one of those hybrid defenders that we're seeing a bit more of these days. Micah Parsons is what everyone wants to compare those guys to. And Reese actually could become a player like that. He's a very good linebacker. He might even be better off the edge in the NFL. Really like him in either spot. Ohio State's got the best defense in the country. Reese is a big part of that. Titans drafted their quarterback last year. They need more help on defense, pass rush specifically, but to get a guy that can play off-ball linebacker as well is a bit of a bonus, a potential to be an elite prospect in the 2026 NFL draft. At the trade deadline, the Jets acquired another first-round pick in 2026, and they acquired more picks in 2027 as well. You could easily say they got to go quarterback here, and they could, but I feel like the right guy has to be there. They have to build that entire roster, and they made sure to acquire 2027 picks because that class, especially at quarterback, is looking a little bit better. And if they keep this staff, which is possible, I feel like the staff would be more of a fan of a little bit more of a mobile quarterback. Maybe they would like Ty Simpson if he's there, and the scenario is not. So Caleb Downs, he's been an elite prospect. The Ohio State safety makes a lot of sense for Aaron Glenn if they keep Aaron Glenn. They probably shouldn't, but it sounds like they really like him. But thinking back to his years with the Lions, they had elite safeties. This kind of comparable to Brian Branch, a guy that really could play either safety spot, but also could play in the slot around the box area, get in the backfield, cover, zone coverage, man up on anyone on the field. So this feels like something that the Jets are really missing right now and really could benefit from adding, and he's most definitely worth the pick. Unlike some quarterbacks, I guess that's debatable. There's a couple other quarterbacks that could end up being worthy of this pick. But Caleb Downs, third to the Jets. They got another pick coming. Fourth overall, the Dolphins select Ruben Bain Jr., Miami edge rusher, and this could be another team that goes quarterback, but you go with the possible best player available here, one of the better pass rushers in the entire country in Ruben Bain, and he showed that since week one against good offensive lines, just an absolute problem. The Dolphins trade away Jalen Phillips. Chubb's probably not around for the long haul. They have Chop Robinson, but even with all those edge rushers going into this year, they were kind of digging around for some pass rushers, so they're always looking, and they might potentially have an elite prospect here at pick 4. Fifth overall, the Giants go with my favorite receiver in the entire class, and there's some good ones. This receiver class ended up being way better than expected, but Makai Lemon from USC, I think he's a sure thing. as safe of a pick as you could find. This guy's going to be a dominant slot receiver in the NFL that also can play outside. He's not just an underneath guy. I mean, you can give him the ball underneath. You can give him the end arounds. But, man, he makes a lot of big-time plays downfield in the end zone. A really solid contested catcher, even though he isn't the biggest guy in the world. Great hands. Kind of gives me a little bit of Puka vibes. Puka's obviously a little more physical, going to be a little better of a blocker, but I see a little bit of that. I just think he's a sure thing, productive machine. You can align him anywhere. So Malik Neighbors going to be coming back, but you can mesh these guys together. You can have Lemon in the slot, Neighbors outside for the most part, but you can flip those guys at times as well. Makes a lot of sense for the rising star Jackson Dart here at 5, but there's multiple receivers they can go with. I know a lot of people like, as do I, Jordan Tyson, Carnell Tate. We'll talk about those guys coming up. Browns at 6, another team that could grab a quarterback, or do they wait to 2027? Do they give Dylan Gabriel or finally Shedeur Sanders more of a shot? They drafted 2 last year, so they shouldn't panic unless the right guy is there. They're going to need offensive line help going forward for whoever that quarterback's going to be. Francis Mauigoa from Miami is a beast stud offensive tackle. Some talk about him moving into guard. I like him at tackle, but for how big, powerful is, you'll actually catch this guy getting downfield, hitting those next level blocks. That's what I love about him. But the Browns are going to need to start looking for those tackles of the future. They'll have 2 picks in the first round in 2026. Raiders at 7 select offensive lineman from Utah, Spencer Fano, currently playing tackle for them. There's some talk about him moving to guard. I guess it'll depend on the measurables. I don't want to overreact to that stuff. I think he can be a damn good tackle or guard for the Raiders. Their offensive line very underwhelming this year. We thought it'd be a little bit better so Pete Carroll can go out and make sure they improve that offensive line, whether it's tackle or guard. Run blocking's pretty bad, so Ashton Jeanty has a lot more potential if you get that run blocking set, and that's where Fano comes into play here. I do think he's a better run blocker than pass protector, but it sure can help the Raiders here at 7. Bengals at 8 could go anything defense, but they finally get that stud defensive tackle. Peter Woods from Clemson was known as kind of an elite prospect or potential to be an elite prospect even a year ago. Exactly what the Bengals need. I mean, they need everything defense, but first, got to stop the run better. I mean, it's historically bad right now. Everybody is running all over them. And then the bonus with Woods is he can get that interior pressure as well. He has experience aligning in different spots on the interior. So that's just a big-time bonus here. Exactly what they need. They got that edge rusher in the first round last year. Now they get that D tackle. Commanders at 9 go with Notre Dame star running back Jeremiyah Love. Yes, the Commanders need a lot of help on defense, specifically off the edge, but a couple reasons they go Love here. First, it might be just too good to pass. This is a sure thing, elite prospect, one of the better running back prospects we've seen in some time because he's a total package, freak athlete, home run hitter. Really has improved as a pass catcher as well, can make some freaky plays in that area. So he's an every down back. So maybe just be too good to pass here. On top of that, the Commanders just could not get the run game going this year. They've really missed Austin Eckler. Can they trust him to stay healthy going forward? Is he going to be around long term for them? Do they bring him back? And Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt has looked pretty solid, but he's not really getting involved as a pass catcher. And that's an issue, right? They got to get this run game going. It's making Jaden Daniels, well, he's hurt now, but whoever's that quarterback, their job harder. So if you get a star running back in this offense, it can elevate the entire offense so much more. So I love Jeremiyah Love here. Too good to pass. A potential elite NFL running back in the near future. Ravens currently picking 10th. I'd imagine they end up picking further back than this, but right now that's where they're at. Cassius Howell from Texas A&M, an absolute freak. He looks better than last year's A&M pass rushers, and those guys were freaky good as well. Scorton's balling out in the NFL right now, so Howell looks legit. Freak athlete off the edge, has a ton of production right now to go with it. He could drop in coverage. We saw glimpses of that even last year as he was a rotation player. Ravens have not been able to get their hands on a guy like this because they don't pick early ever. So in this scenario, this would be a perfect scheme fit as well. Makes a lot of sense for the Ravens around this range. 11, the Rams. I went a little bold here actually with the position. They have 2 first-round picks, so they can really go best available player, especially here what would be the Falcons pick that they got from last year's draft. But Jordan Tyson has a shot to be the top receiver in the class. I mean, he has everything you look for a receiver. 1, he has the ideal size, build, hands, route running ability, can catch in traffic, just out physicals defenders. He did have a little bit of an injury pop up at the end of last year and currently right now or the past week. So maybe that's something that pops up here. But a stud receiver in the Rams, yeah, it's a little bold because I mean, they have Puka Nacua and Devonta Adams. These are star receivers. They're not desperate today for a receiver, but Adams will have, at this time of the draft, will have one more year left on his deal. I feel like he can play forever, but you have to bring up how long will he play? How long will he play for the Rams? And Puka, I'm not really worried about, but he's had some injuries pop up. And the Rams have tried to go to other guys and try to keep them. Those guys can't really be that consistent, right? They try to use multiple other receivers. We saw them use Demarcus Robinson in the past, but Whittington right now and Tutu Atwell. Just can't really fully trust those guys. Not that they're bad players. And it feels like over the years they were trying to find that outside, boundary possession receiver, and now they have an opportunity because they're never picking 11 to grab one for the future in Jordan Tyson. So a little bold, but I thought it made sense for what I think is the best team in football right now. They don't have too many obvious needs. Cardinals at 12 pull the trigger on a quarterback, Fernando Mendoza, who's balling out for Indiana. How good is Indiana right now, too? They're looking insane, way better than last year, and they were good last year. But Mendoza, a lot of people's quarterback one right now, and makes sense. He's balling out. He's a very likable kid. If you ever heard him talk, really good teammate. He seems like as well. But yeah, he has the ideal, size, the arm talent as well. He's leading Indiana to an even better season. How the upside's the question. Right now, to me, I want to see more, but he doesn't really scream like crazy upside. And when you're picking a quarterback 1, 2, 3, I mean, if he's just good enough, you could take him there. But I want them to be have elite potential, and I don't really see elite potential. I don't feel elite potential. I could definitely see maybe a safe pick. He's got a good shot to be a really solid quarterback. I see a little bit of Kirk Cousins in his game. He's going to be a little more athletic than Kirk Cousins, a little bit more. Where's the ceiling when looking at him like that? That's kind of the question. But the Cardinals probably going to move on from Kyler Murray, and as long as they keep the staff together, which maybe they don't. But when they brought in Petzing as their offensive coordinator, I thought that's an interesting fit for Kyler Murray because he's more of a pro-style offense. They want to run a lot of play action. Is Kyler Murray, pocket passing quarterback is what they want. Is he the right fit? And right now, they feel Brissett's the better fit. Murray's a little banged up. Mendoza would be a really good fit for that offense, a guy they would like as long as that staff is still there. But yeah, something for Mendoza. A lot of times with the college quarterbacks, you wonder if they're pro ready because the offenses are so different, right? They're in shotgun, clapping, they're looking at the sideline at their coach, and receivers are wide open, especially from the slot because no one's playing anywhere near slot receivers. They're playing 20 yards off the ball for some reason in college. But for Mendoza, it's a little different. Yeah, you trust he can play in a pro-style offense. Right now, the Indiana playbook is kind of like this, though. It's working for them. There's not a big variety of plays where you're going, yeah, he for sure could run the variety of plays in the NFL. So that's kind of the one question I have right now for Indiana, who's balling out, and Mendoza, who's balling out. Other quarterbacks, I only have 2 in this first round mock, but other quarterbacks, Garrett Nussmeier looked like a top pick last year. It sounds like he's playing a little banged up. LSU's been a disaster. They fired Brian Kelly. His offense line was great last year. They all pretty much went to the draft. They're pretty bad right now, and his mobility is lacking. But he has the arm talent to be a first-round pick. He has the footwork in the pocket. He doesn't really escape pressure, but he has the footwork to be the mechanics to be a early first-round pick. He's got to get things going right now. And then Joey Aguilar's really caught my eye. Arm talent's there. He can escape pressure. He finally played a really good defense against Oklahoma, and he struggled. It's a very strange offense they run there that doesn't translate to, it's not that strange, but it doesn't translate to the NFL. Cade Klubnik has the tools. He was known as a top pick. He's kind of declined over the course this year. Darian Mensah from Duke's really caught my eye recently, and a few other guys to kind of watch out for there. I listed down there that could sneak in the first round. We know Nussmeier, we know Klubnik, they have the talent. Can they get back in that conversation? 13, the Texans select Penn State guard Vega Ioane, who's shaping up to be the best guard in this draft class. Now, some of those tackles that are top prospects could, depending on which team drafts them, could move to guard, end up being maybe one of the best ones in the class. But right now, in terms of true interior offense line, this is your top guy. Penn State's having a rough year. He is not. He is really a big-time riser. The Texans, the defense is set. That's the best defense in football. Offense, they're actually set in a lot of spots. The offensive line's the question, specifically the interior offensive line. So this seems like an absolute perfect match here for Houston if they're picking around this range. The Cowboys, who will be picking twice in this first round, select edge rusher from Texas Tech, David Bailey. Transfer coming from Stanford. He stood out there, and he's really stood out, been very productive for Texas Tech. There's been so many years Texas Tech has had a terrible defense, and now they're more of a defensive team. I guess it's debatable. Their offense is pretty good too, but it starts with the pass rusher, the star pass rusher, Bailey. So the Cowboys try to replace Micah Parsons here, add Bailey with Ezeraku, and then they're explosive off the edge. They might be set for the future there, so a good pick here for Dallas at 14. 15, the Vikings select corner from LSU, Mansour Delane, who's having a standout year for the Tigers. Tigers, underwhelming year, but the surprisingly end up being way more of a defensive team, and it starts with a guy like this, the transfer from Virginia Tech. Really caught my eye, I think everyone's eye. Big-time riser. Minnesota looking for more corner help whenever their defense has kind of made mistakes this year. They've given up big, deep plays, down the boundary against, one-on-ones against corners while they're blitzing. So it'd be a big addition to add a first-round corner here in 2026. Panthers at 16 go Clemson edge rusher TJ Parker, who was kind of shaping up to be an elite prospect based off last year's tape. And the talent's got to be in there still. Just maybe a little underwhelming, but definitely can get back in that conversation. The Panthers obviously looks like a big-time hit with Nick Scorton, but to pair someone else with him, and that another big step up for that defense and that pass rush. Chiefs currently picking 17, so in this scenario, they take Auburn pass rusher Keldrick Falk. Really powerful enough where he can actually slide inside in some reps if you need him to. Like him at defensive end, good fit for the scheme. They need someone opposite of Karlaftis. Really solid run defender as well. He's a guy that I could end up seeing. He can go in this range. It's early, obviously. He can go in this range. He can also creep up way inside the top 10 as well. Really good player and a really good defense. 18, the Bears go with Caden McDonald, Ohio State defensive tackle, another big-time riser, another Buckeye here. Big-time run stuffer. Immediately going to be a solid run stopper in the NFL, but he has that pass rush upside as well. He's got 3 sacks this year. He's getting that interior pressure, so a big-time player that kind of stepped in for Tyleik Williams, who went in the first round last year from Ohio State. McDonald is one to watch. The Bears definitely need defensive line help, whether it's interior or off the edge. A lot of the edge rushers that fit off the board here, so they go with the D tackle. Another Buckeye, and this one staying in Ohio, going to the Browns with their second first-round pick, Carnell Tate, who is having an unreal season. He's got potential to go earlier this as well because teams know these Ohio State receivers are legit. They work out. They're very safe picks. This guy's a really good route runner, really good tracking the ball down the field. Exactly what the Browns need. Maybe they get those pieces for the offense. The defense is set. They get those pieces on offense around the quarterback and then find that quarterback. Maybe give one of their current quarterbacks another shot. It's definitely a possibility, but Carnell Tate, a guy that could go in the mid-first round or even earlier because the stellar season he is having. 20, the Steelers go with the rising receiver, Jeremy Bernard from Alabama. A freak athlete, especially after the catch. He is fun to watch. Really rising up this year. A big weapon for Ty Simpson and Alabama offense. Just kind of a highlight machine here. Feels like it's what Arthur Smith wants and what he's missing in that offense. He has DK Metcalf, the downfield boundary receiver. Now, Bernard's a guy that can really do a bit of everything. But being able to get him the ball underneath and let him go to work after the catch at a very high level is exactly what that offense needs. Lions at 21 go with Alabama offensive tackle Caden Proctor, who has potential to go a lot earlier in this. There was some talk about him potentially being a top 5, top 10 pick, maybe even elite prospect. He is a very, very physical offensive tackle, maybe a little bit better run blocker. But the Lions would like him here at 21. Their offensive line's usually elite. It's a step down this year, and that's kind of hurt them at times. And Taylor Decker's been in and out, been a little banged up. How long is he going to last for them? They might be looking for that left tackle in the future, and you have the opportunity here in this scenario at 21. 22, the Chargers go Oklahoma star pass rusher R. Mason Thomas. And man, if he was a little bit longer, a little bit more, a little bigger, a little more height, we might be talking top 10 for him. We'll see what the measurables end up being, but this dude is a freaky productive pass rusher. I feel like he always shows up in crucial big-time moments as well. Chargers may not feel like they need an edge rusher right now because they have some guys. Khalil Mack could be the end of the road from him, coming up, so they could be looking to get another big-time pass rusher here going forward. 23, the Niners go with Utah offensive lineman Caleb Lamu. So both tackles from Utah get drafted here. Fanu is the bigger name here. But Lamu, another guy that could end up sliding from tackle to guard. Either way, I feel like he could help the Niners because they could really use both. How long is Trent Williams going to last? That'll be the question. this would be the opportunity to get a solid starting offensive lineman that they kind of been passing on, but they could go. They love drafting defense, interior defense line, possibly. Can't go wrong with one of the receivers as well, but they go the offensive line route here at 23. The second pick in the first round for the Cowboys at 24 select Ohio State linebacker Sonny Styles. Him and Reese, best linebacker duo in the country on the best defense in the country. Safety background here. Cowboys need more defense. They got edge with their first pick. We had them getting edge with their first pick, and now they get a linebacker. Gives them a huge boost to that defense. The linebacker class is looking really solid, and there's a lot of teams that badly need a linebacker. C.J. Allen of Georgia here to the Bills at 25. Matt Milano still kind of has those durability things pop up. He's not going to last too much longer. They're going to need another linebacker in there. The Bills, it seems like every year or more so, struggling stopping the run. That's where C.J. Allen comes into play. This is a really good run diagnoser, getting downhill, filling the lanes, making the tackle, even in the backfield. You see him getting after the quarterback. You see him get his hands on the ball as well. Exactly what the Bills could need here at 25. Another star linebacker, Texas linebacker, Anthony Hill Jr. for the Seahawks at 26 here. The Seahawks are playing like maybe the best team in football right now. They do not have a lot of holes, a lot of needs, but they could benefit from adding another linebacker here for Mike McDonald's defense, which is pretty damn important at that linebacker position. Anthony Hill Jr. gives you that bonus of being able to get after the quarterback as well as a blitzer, or using him at times off the edge. So I see Mike McDonald getting a ton out of him in his defense. The Rams' second pick in this first round at 27 go Tennessee corner Jeremiyah McCoy. Definitely filling a need here, but the corner with some big upside. A little tricky because he's been injured this year, but his tape last year looked like a star corner, top 10 pick. We see corners throughout college and the NFL, or college to the NFL, kind of go up and down, up and down. So a little bit of risk here. The Rams would be a team that would be confident if the tape to them checks out. And then the medicals obviously check out, and there's still some season left for him to get in there. But that would be a team that down here late in the first round to pull the trigger on him. But he's so talented that maybe could go much earlier in this. Broncos at 28 go Oregon tight end Kenyon Sadiq, which I think I had this in the preseason mock as well. I love the fit that much. A perfect weapon for Sean Payton, for Bo Nix as well. At that tight end spot, a future upgrade over Evan Engram. Sadiq, a very underrated blocker as well, but love this fit here at 28. Another first-round receiver for the Buccaneers, Denzel Boston, the star receiver for Washington's a big-time riser, really good boundary receiver, great hands, great tracking the ball, great height, great in contested catch situations. That's what the Bucs, believe it or not, are going to need. It's going to be sad, but time could be up for Mike Evans in Tampa Bay. Continues to get injured. He's going to be a free agent. Yes, they have Egbuka, Chris Godwin, if he stays healthy, but they're missing that Mike Evans style receiver. Boston, with his height, with his hands, the boundary ability, is that guy, and they value the position maybe more than anyone in the league. 30, the Patriots select Iowa offensive tackle Jennings Dunker. This feels like a Mike Vrabel guy, and they're going to need one more offensive tackle of the future at that right tackle spot. And Drake May and the Patriots, a stellar season, very impressive so far. They are still allowing, it's much better than last year, but they're still allowing some pressure and allowing May to get sacked a little bit. So that's where Dunker could come into play here. Eagles at 31, Oregon defensive tackle Amari Washington has really stood out, especially in recent weeks, so he's a riser in the draft world right now. And the Eagles, remember, they lost Milton Williams in the offseason. It's kind of showed a little bit. They're still very solid at the position, but they really could benefit from adding another interior defensive lineman. Not a lot of big needs on this Eagles team, a very complete roster. And the Jets at the trade deadline got the Colts pick. Maybe it ends up being earlier in 32. It's the order today, but they select a receiver to pair with Garrett Wilson and A.D. Mitchell, Casey Concepcion, who I think is extremely underrated, not getting enough love right now. It's a big-time playmaker for Texas A&M, a freak athlete, very speedy, a very twitchy route runner. He'll go up and take the ball from you, too. I don't think he's getting enough love in the draft world right now. So the Jets, with this draft, they build around the whole team. They build around the quarterback. And then maybe if the right quarterback's there, take them, but maybe plan to get that big-time prospect in 2027. Almost feels like they're shaping up for that. It is early to tell. We're just projecting for now. But there you have it. My 32 picks here, a little over halfway through the season. We'll update more, and we'll have full coverage in draft season, of course. Like, subscribe, to notifications on. Check out all of our NFL weekly content. It's going to do it. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.